The final stage of adding styles for larger desktop size screens is pretty much already taken care of. We already have them in place. These are the ones we commented out earlier. We just need to decide what screen size we want these to take effect for. Then we can move them to a separate media query. Again, if we open up the developer tools, right click and inspect, then we can widen the browser to a size where we want to add a breakpoint. So let's keep going until this looks a little stretched. So currently this takes effect at 800 pixels, which is just here, and then make it a little bit bigger. So maybe about 1000 pixels, somewhere around there. The content looks a little stretched. So at 1000 pixels, I'm going to add a new media query. So down at the very bottom, outside of this curly brace, we can again use the @media rule, and then set the minimum width to be 1000 pixels. So let's begin by scrolling up to the main and the aside section. If you remember from earlier, we commented out both these sections. So let's now cut both these sections out of place. And then we can go ahead and add these inside of our media query. So paste these inside of our second media query, and then uncomment out both of these sections. Okay, give that a save, and then over to the browser, and then refresh, and then let's try resizing. So over 1000 pixels, we'll see things are starting to look a little bit better, but there is still a few small changes to make, such as the header, and also the text alignment is still in the center. The text alignment is an easy fix. We just need to set the body to be aligned to the left. So just above the main section, let's add the body. Then set the text align to be in the left. And there we go. We've now pushed our links over to the left, and also the header content too. This header section also will change the site title from 70% wide to be 100%. And we did this with the header H1. So let's go further up the page. And there's the header H1. So now let's remove this comment or cut it out of place. And then we can reapply this down in the media query. So back down to the bottom. And let's go just after the body section. The header H1 was a selector. And then paste this in and take a look at this. Then if we resize the browser back below 1000 pixels, we can see the breakpoint straight away where the layout will change because of our media query. I think we can add one final media query to this project when the screen is a little wider. This is so we can go back to having our 3 products on each row. So let's go back to the developer tools so we can see the browser width. And then if we stretch the browser a little wider, so currently the breakpoint happens just here. And then let's keep going. And let's say around 1200 pixels. We'll then make the product appear 3 on each row. So another media query right at the very bottom with @media. This time we'll set the minimum width to be 1200 pixels. Just like that. So to kick things off in this larger media query, remember early on we set the maximum width to be 80% of the viewport width. We then commented out this section for the mobile sizes. So let's cut this section out the body, and then we can reapply it down at the bottom for the larger screens. So add this inside the 1200 pixels media query, and then uncomment out this section. First of all, we need to add the body, of course, and then the curly braces. Then refresh. And this now sets the body to be 80% of the width of the viewport. Then we can make the products 30% wide each two to allow 3 to fit on each row. So let's target the dot product and then set the width to be 30%. Then back over and reload. We are pretty much now complete. It looks like one of the only differences from the original site is this search box just here, which was alongside this links on the right. So let's try and fix this now over in the media query. We can select the input with the type of search. And then let's try and make this a little bit narrower. So let's say 20%. Add this in and then reload. We can see that it still does not fit. We can try to reduce the width of the site title to give this more space. So let's try the header H1, which is in the 1000 pixels media query. Let's try changing this to be 60% and then refresh. And now there's enough space for these all to fit on the screen. So let's just see what we've done here. If we stretch the browser to be full width, we now have our site looking pretty much as it was originally. As we shrink it down, we can see the content flows to be smaller. And then we'll have a breakpoint to make 2 products appear on each row. And then as we get smaller, we have another breakpoint to make sure that the main and the side section appear stacked on top of each other. Still having the 2 products side by side. Then even further to the mobile and small tablet view, we can see we have 1 product on each line. And this is now looking a lot more optimized for smaller screens. So well done if this is all working for you. Remember, these breakpoint numbers are flexible, and you will need to base them on whatever content you're working with. You've now made your first project now responsive to adjust to different screen devices. Next, we're going to take a look at using responsive images.